Oh, so you get to have other goes.
I know.
We don't.
We get
No.
one.
No, I said once we get started. All right. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special pre-taped edition of Star Citizen Live. I have attempted this intro several times, and none of them were good because we've been off the air for about 2 weeks, once. Nope, we're going to leave it in. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee, and if you've never seen Star Citizen Live before, it's the show that's normally live. But because of some scheduling issues, we're pre-recording this on Thursday, the day before. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee. Joining us on the show this week are esteemed members of our gameplay teams assigned to FPS, combat and armors, and character-based gameplay, and AI and creatures and stuff like this. We're doing a follow-up to our Dress to Kill presentation at CitizenCon. So this is a big characters and creatures presentation. That's it for the intro. I did it in one take. Ooh. That was the only take I attempted to do. Let's get to meeting our esteemed developers here. Joining me immediately to my right, a man who probably needs no introduction, but we're going to do it anyway. Zach, tell everybody who you are and what you do for Star Citizen.
Hello, I'm Zach. I do FPS, I do AI, I do weapons. Anything that the character moves around and does, I'm usually involved with.
Don't sell yourself short. You also add glint to sniper scopes.
Yeah, but I'm trying to move past being the glint guy. I'm trying to be the cool worm guy now.
We're
I get
adding
harassed
glint to
less on
worms.
Twitter
Is there
that
a
way.
cool worm guy? Is that a thing?
Yeah, but he got banned.
Okay.
All right. Directly to your right, Nick, tell everybody who you are and what you do for Star Citizen.
Hello, my name's Nick. I'm a systems designer 3. I'm very similar to Zach. We kind of work hand in hand on FPS. So we're focused on a lot of weapons, and also now I'm focusing on armor with Luke as well. So.
Yeah. And Luke, no stranger to SCL. You've been doing this for years and years and years now. Yeah. Tell everybody who you are, what you do.
I'm Luke Presley. I own law, security, reputation. Now I own cargo and also armor.
I own the law, he says.
I am the law.
It's like Judge Dredd. I am the law. That was the older Judge Dredd. I know there's a newer Judge Dredd that was very popular and should have gotten a sequel and never did. All right, so as we are wont to do, we have put a thread up in Spectrum, which is our bespoke communication platform available on robertsspaceindustries.com, where we let folks submit their questions and vote up the ones they wanted to see answer the most. Earlier this week, we let Nick, Zach, and Luke dig through your questions and find the questions that they had the most information about, because remember, not everything is currently in active development, so things that are a little farther off will be more nebulous and stuff, because we reserve the right to have a better idea. You know, you say something today and it's not going to happen for years and years and years, you write yourself into a corner. So all the stuff that we're going to be talking about today is the imminent work, the stuff that we're heading into in 2025 and stuff like this. So Nick, we're going to start with you.
Sure.
Start with here. At CitizenCon, you represented the next evolution of the armor archetypes system that you and Luke have worked on, stuff like this. This question simply says, we saw a lot of combat suits there, but how are engineering, mining, and industrial suits also coming along?
Yeah, so yeah, that's correct. We did see a lot of combat stuff. I think we were very excited to show a lot of the new armor sets that we're making, and it was just by chance that they were combat focused. But any eagle-eyed spotters would have seen in one of the slides, we actually had the concept or the prototype of our mining suit. So the mining suit is going to have its own dedicated mining visor, where you'll be able to scan and find more detailed information about minables that are around you, much further distance. And obviously it offers great environmental protection, so obviously we want players to be going down in caves and obviously with different temperature resistance and obviously for storage as well. So those minables, whether they be large or small, we want the player to be able to think, if they're dedicated in mining, that they can head towards that. And we've got the salvage suit as well, that just reminded me of that. Like, obviously, the beauty of this as well is we are going into some of our armor sets that are more legacy as well. So it's not just new armor sets. So obviously we've got the current Grin armor, which I actually think has got a really cool feature. So it will be kind of streamlined more with the backpack. It's have its own dedicated backpack, which will stream from the tool through the arm into the backpack, which means once you're salvaging, you won't have to worry about changing the vials and whatnot. It'll go streamlined straight into your backpack. So if that is something you're dedicated in, then that has that opportunity as well.
So the mining suit, because we almost had a miner in our demo, but the armor wasn't quite ready. There's a visor specifically for the miner suit that'll help you better identify materials and stuff like this. For the salvage suit, is there something similar for the visor? Are we working on a specific salvage visor?
Yeah, so that's still kind of in concept phase for that. I know the mineable one's a bit more obvious, but we'd like, obviously, to provide the players with enough detail as they need. So if that is a profession that they're particularly interested in, then when they do scan and ping out towards objects that they can interact with, then they will get more detail about potentially what material is and how much the health of the component, of the chip component, So
yeah, most players who don't have that visor will be relying on the screen on their weapon, you know, to understand what they're salvaging. Whereas they may, you know, the visors may get extra information either side.
Yeah. Like I said, the different materials, maybe even certain areas yield more. Identifying the area, you know, in case you're in a hurry, in case you're like trying to salvage in an active war zone. It's like, all right, I'm just going after the really, you know, good stuff here. I don't want to, you know, want the crap at the end of the Drake ship. You know, no. Shout out to Drake. I was hanging around with John Crew earlier, so I'm back on Drake. I love Drake, I really do. Nick, are the extra pouches from 2953 still a thing?
They are still a thing. It's definitely in the plans. It's just not actively being worked on currently, but it's something that we're definitely still planning for.
Zach.
Yes.
We saw the return of the Valacar at this year's CitizenCon. We've got a lot of questions about the Valacar. Here's the first one that the comment that I saw almost immediately, like as the show was starting or whatever, is, what? Wouldn't we just drop an A2 on this thing? Wouldn't we just Moab the heck out of this?
Yes.
MFer?
So of course that would be, you know, that would be make the most sense. Hey, I kill it. But there's two things with that. The Moab is going to be expensive to craft, right? Like that is a, you know, that's an endeavor essentially. And the second thing is that if you do that, if you do any like large, you know, big scale AoE attacks, you will destroy the harvestables. They will just be gone. So any like large explosions, like we talked about in Idris Railgun, right? Like that is a lot of damage as well, and you'll just basically completely remove the harvestables, you know. That, or we're going to say, well, the quality is, you know, absolutely gone as well. So people are like, there's this cheese strategy. It's like, I've already thought of that. So we've got you there already.
And before we started, I was trying to pitch Zach on this idea of just Godzillaing kaijuing the thing, and, you know, making it feed on explosive radiation and get more angry and stuff.
I think the idea of a radiation-based sandworm is very cool, though. So hopefully we can visit that someday.
All right. Will the Valacar be a world boss type of encounter, meaning it roams and you find and search for it, or will it be a mobiGlas mission?
So Rich is very keen on it not being a mobiGlas mission. He understands, you know, the almost pompousness that you need with something that is of this scale and this cool. And we do have a specific plan already. We know what we're going to do. It's nothing like we've seen in Star Citizen before, and it's very cool. And I've seen the brief. I know what it is, and it's incredibly cool, but no details because we want to make it an event.
Okay. And some of the things we tried to make it as evident as possible in our demonstration, but you know, some people, you don't always get it. The having to taunt it out, using a ground vehicle, and doing donuts and stuff. Obviously, again, we're not going to go into the details just yet, but that's representative of the kind of thing. Like, it's not just about going and finding it; it's about coaxing it out.
Coaxing
it out.
And there is something you'll have to do with the big event that you coax it to a certain location. So that's already thought of. So it's not just oh, there it is, get the vehicle, go out. It's a very cool multi-stage process. You know, it's when you get your guild together, your org together, and you're able to just, you know, get the boys together too. Let's go kill the sandworm. It's really cool.
Can you kite the sandworm?
Can you kite the sandworm? Well, I don't want to give a really nerdy gameplay answer, but it does move underground, so possibly.
I just remember in the early WoW days, before we launched WoW and everything, you know, trying desperately to coax the world bosses into the Agrimar and Stormwind and stuff.
I'm terrified because of how systemic our game is. What happens if you take this near someone's bases and things like that? And that's the fun and beauty of. Yeah, I mean, there are Copians spawning near where NPCs are and things like that, and you can get to a place where NPCs are and they're having a fight with Copians because our game is just so systemic, and that's not something we plan. We're not like, let's put these near here. It's just how our game works.
Called emergent gameplay, my friend.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, but if I remember what happened when I used game design terms last time, people didn't understand what I meant. So
I'm not sure you understand what you mean.
yeah, I'm not actually employed here. I just make the glint.
Zach showed up one day to the company barbecue, and we kept him around. Maybe this next question's for Luke. I mean, anybody can answer it, but with the need for multiple specialized armors, will we see suit lockers enabled and more options for armor storage, like storing in the ship's inventory, come out as Star Wars further developed?
Well, those are on very different teams, like the Starware and the lockers. So those guys have very different priorities as well. I can't guarantee they'll come out at the same time. All ships that should have inventory, though, do currently. And for 4.0, a lot more of those will have like physicalized panels and things that you interact with to find those. And like the lockers themselves, those are really cool. Like they allow you to kind of pre-customize, your loadout.
Whole loadout, yeah.
Yeah. And then swap into it very quickly, and your clothes would go into like the mannequin on the inside as well, so you can quickly swap back and forth. They also have small inventory space, so you can put your spares, like your glasses and your grenades and whatever in there. So there will always be somewhere to store these things when you have to take them off or swap, but they may not come online at the same time.
A couple weeks ago, might be a couple months ago now because time is an illusion. I've been sucked into CitizenCon for so long. We released a preview on social media about the upcoming base building and the suit lockers and these gorgeous lockers where you can just display your full loadout and stuff like this in your homes and whatnot. And it occurs to me that with cargo grids and having these things that you might be able to, ships have their own suit lockers, but you might be able to kit your ships out with even more lockers and stuff like that, and carry them around and basically really do the doomsday prepper kind of thing. I've got my Zeus, I've got my a C2, and in the back I've just got the Batman armory for every occasion. No matter what comes up, I can run to the back, and there's my mining outfit, and there's my salvage outfit, and stuff like this. And that's a really exciting moment for me because it's not like, obviously the inventory screen is cool. You go through and you drag and drop and whatever. But this idea that you just said,
it's almost like your models in the background there.
Yeah.
Like if you want to show off your favorite armors, there they are behind the shiny glass.
And then to immediately just go right to it and be like, equip, I want that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's going to unlock a lot of cool gameplay.
Yeah, that's something that Rich is really passionate about as well, because we have so many different types, and these specializations, they kind of enhance the other styles of gameplay. So if you're in a dropship, for example, you don't want to be dropping into a hot war zone and then you're like, oh, okay, 1 minute, let me drag this and let me drag that. You want to be like, no, I want my combat. Yeah, I want to go straight to it. I want to get out there. I want to fight. So they kind of, all these little things that we're doing kind of start to complement one another, and it starts to feel more cohesive and what we intend.
Yeah, when your ship's being attacked, the lights are going off, you're really worried. You're not like, oh, hang on, let me open a menu. It's like people are coming. Yeah, you want the Doom shotgun gif, right? Like these guys are coming, well, boosh, and then it's gonna be cool.
You picked a perennial favorite here. This question is simply parachutes.
So, do you want to take this one? I did ask JJ about it.
Yeah. So, yes, but maybe not exactly like parachutes. Something more in line with Star Citizen. So something in the nature of a parachute, but maybe not exactly a parachute. But yes, we want something in line.
You don't want to be collecting that up and folding it away. You can imagine our game; it'd be that high fidelity.
We need to sci-fi it up a bit,
Yeah. You may not be aware of this, but JJ has previously said jetpacks for this. Is that what you're hinting, or are you hitting something else?
No, we got something else hinted at.
You got something else?
I've got something else.
Something else besides jetpacks.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. All right, let's find another Valacar question here.
That's English for I'm excited.
Oh, is that what that is?
You ever been to a pub? It's all you hear half the time. No, it doesn't associate with the Brits.
Let's see. Regarding the Valar,
Yeah.
is there any idea of how this once Lear-bound worm started to show up all over the UEE?
Yeah, so thank you, Astropub, for this question. I assume it's him because of the what it sounds like. He's going to make a video out of this. But I asked Narrative about this just to double check. And basically, the idea is, we don't actually know, but we assume that people have taken the juveniles from Lear and done some possible animal smuggling, and they've ended up on monarchs and things like that. Maybe some scientists. We're not 100% sure. In a world as big and the universe as big as Star Citizen and not being able to track everything, sometimes, people do things and they happen. So possible animal smuggling, possibly scientists.
Possibly scientists.
Yeah. Yeah, they're always up to something, ain't they?
If I don't see the meme within 5 minutes of this part airing of just Zach going, possibly scientists, I'm going to be disappointed. Let's see. Will the Valar scoot? Will it scoot? Will it scoot? Will it scoot on through the sand for much of a distance, or does it stay local to your area where you trigger the boss fight?
Everyone who has seen the word scoot has immediately pointed out this specific person used the word scoot, which is fantastic. But no, it actually does move underground. When it goes back underground, you see it moving and it kicks up a big dust storm, and it's really cool. We didn't have that working in time for the demo, but it does work now, which is really nice, because at the time it only worked in offline mode, not online mode. So it was this close. It was this close. But yeah, sometimes you just got to be all right. Cut it off. We're making the video.
Yeah, I want to. I don't want to skip over that fact. That was actual gameplay. Like we sat there, we gathered.
I played that. I was
we really.
Exactly.
It
was the three of you and a bunch of other conscripts and stuff, and it was just jump in and play it, and it was see if you can beat it, and yeah, occasionally it was like, okay, we need a couple more deaths, let's see how if you can die a creative way, but yeah, those were the actual fights as exists now, and like you said, now that it can move, and it'll continue to evolve ahead of its release in a subsequent 4.x patch.
The best bit about watching people's reaction to the panel and everything was everyone's like, oh, no, it's the worm. And then we pan to it says actual gameplay on the bottom. Everyone's like, oh my God. Yeah. Someone said, you can tell it's in game because there's a little bit of jank. And it's like that little bit of jank means it's in engine and it's real. Yeah, I remember saying when we were talking about it, I was like, look, we can't show this thing off without having gameplay because everyone would just go, you idiots. So it was a really big push by everybody to get it there. Yeah.
The good thing about it as well is the fact that we've got so many more eyes on it, and then so many more people giving feedback. Yeah. We got to test it more, ironically, because we were getting so much footage for it. We were playing it so much that we were like, okay, this, we found new issues, and it was a very helpful experience.
Yeah, and when we did the first recording, we had to scrap it because I was in an unreleased ship and I didn't know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we had to scrap that whole first playthrough because of it.
Oh, were you in a...
I was in the...
Yeah, you're not supposed to be in that one.
Yeah. It's really cool.
You can ask me these things. Okay, that's what happened. All right. Because there was a whole playthrough we couldn't use, and I was trying to figure out why. That makes way more sense.
If it was a gun, I'd know, but ships, not me.
What? You don't know everything everybody else is doing?
I don't know anything about
Project
ships.
This big?
I know the names of 5 ships. I can name you every gun, but if you're like, what ship is that? I'd be like, that's crazy, bro.
Clue Sniper.
Clue Sniper, Arrowhead.
Okay. Why doesn't it have a glint on it? Can we get an update to the rolls of armor sets that have been sold on the Pledge store? So basically, it's obviously we've provided a number of armor sets through the website for various things. Some get coupled with a spaceship. Some are, going all the way. I think even the old Voyager Direct store probably had 1 or 2. So are there specific updates to those rules yet, or is that something?
Well, so all armors are going to get this, like roles and specializations, all of them, and the subscriber stuff is all variants of things already in game, mostly, and even the more unique stuff will get a role. So yeah, you don't need to worry about that. Like we'll just this. I won't go through them all.
Yeah, I was going to say. I think what the question is actually looking for is like a comprehensive list. Like back when I was running the subscriber program way back when, we invented like the Overlord armors, which was a vigilante gang in Pyro and stuff like this.
Right.
So probably, well, which roles are those armors and stuff like this? The Parasite helmet is like, what role is that for? And stuff like this. So yeah, a little too detailed for something like SCL, but I think absolutely when the time comes and stuff, we can write up a FAQ.
Yeah.
That's the appropriate thing to have a FAQ. We'll work with the community team, put that together, pull a list together, and work that out.
Yeah, it should be made clear as well that like the things, the armors you saw at CitizenCon, they're our newest, shiniest ones. That's, the reason we picked those. Yeah. But, all the legacy stuff, all the stuff that's currently in game right now.
It's also worth saying, like, a lot of these armors they were very specialized, and we were trying to use that as a showcase to show, like, okay, so if you want to be the ultimate stealth, you pick this stealth suit. But we are having items that are, not every item is going to be specialized to the T. There are going to be ones that tinker towards that way. Yeah. Like, they're a little bit of stealth, but they also have loads of attributes. It's not like, I picked the stealth armor, so now I'm really weak. Like, so we just focused a lot on those ones. So like, a lot of the subscriber ones are absolutely going to still have traits and stuff, but it doesn't mean...
More generalized.
More generalized, exactly. Yeah. But it doesn't mean like, okay, I've got this helmet, so that means I'm forced down this route. It's,
That's a good point. Two points to remember, that the majority of armors will be a more generalized thing with little tiny advantages here and there and stuff. And the second, that you can still do almost anything in any armor.
Exactly.
It's just a question of how well you'll do it, or how much of an advantage you'll have in one particular area.
Exactly. And then when you really want to specialize and you progress through the game and you work with factions and guilds and you get rewards, and then all of a sudden it's like, I want to be the salvager, you have that suit, etc.
So one of the things we mentioned is backpacks, and how some armors may have their backpacks removed. So like this question says, will flying with backpacks still be possible, or will we need to stow them?
You will need to stow them, yeah. It will be a case of, obviously we have so many different backpacks and we've got more coming down the line, so it might be a case of I think it depends on the ship as well, we talked about, right? It depends on whether it be automatically stored or whether...
There are seats that, like, the dropship seats,
right,
that have their own inventory.
Yeah.
And you'll automatically have that backpack and your weapon, anything else that would clip, taken off and put in that inventory. And when you stand up, it will appear back on you. Because, as you said before, Nick, the last thing you want to do is be strapped into your dropship, and then the doors open, and then suddenly, backpack gone, take it all out of the drawer.
That's a major piece of information there, Luke. Like, it's in the last couple of patches when people have seen, we've seen people sticking chairs, to the cargo grid on the sides of, hull Cs and stuff like this. And people have had questions about, well, what does this do for drop ships if you can just put seats anywhere and whatnot? Like, where's the value of my dropship? Yeah. But you just dropped a great pearl there, that a drop ship seat will have its own specific inventory. It will store your backpack, your weapons, blah 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 blah, so you can sit comfortably. And then when you get out, all there for you. That's huge. Yeah. And I think folks who own a dropship will appreciate that.
We're looking at other places where we can maybe do that as well, like maybe single-seater ships and things, but nothing confirmed.
Okay. While we're talking to you, Luke, why not? We have seen showcases of specific armor specializations like heavy combat and heavy tracker. Will we see armor variations of different types like light tracker and medium combat, and how will those full set bonuses differ from the shown examples? Give me a detailed list, 17 examples, please.
Okay, all right, number one. Yeah, of course, you will see different weight classes for the majority of the roles. With the main differences, there'll be unique differences, but main differences obviously being protection versus mobility on foot and then in flight. So for instance, the hunter, say, we've got a light hunter, we've got a medium hunter and 2 heavies currently. They'll all be the best in their classes at scanning, finding life forms. But maybe the heavy will be way better at it than the light. But the light gets the benefit of being stealthier and faster. And it's like, which one do you take? If you're storming, if you know your bounty is in an underground facility they've taken for themselves, you're going to go in the heavy one. Whereas if it's in like, busy streets and stuff, you'll take the light. So it's all about,
It's about knowing your prey. If you're stalking somebody, who's savvy and knows what's going on, like Space Tomato or something, you'd want a heavy armor because they're probably going to fight back, and you want the additional protection. But if you're stalking someone who has no clue what's going on, you're just going to be able to sneak up right them, like Captain Burks. You can just you just use the light armor. It's like, let's just get in there fast. He's not going to know what's going on anyway.
Yeah, and I do want to clarify actually, like there's a bit of confusion about the full suit feature. That isn't some like arbitrary buff. It's not something we just made up.
7 of 7 superpowers.
Yeah. Like not all suits will have this kind of thing, but like it tends to be systemic. So say the stealth suit's a really good one, right? The bit you put, like the piece you put on your arms, that masks the emissions of your arms, right? So you need the full set to fully be hidden.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, some part of you is giving off emissions. It's not like, you put it on and then suddenly you vanish off the face of the earth. It is systemic.
Fair enough. Zach, going back to creatures here. Everybody knows, old timers will know that pets was one of it might actually be the very last stretch goal. It was near the end there. This question simply says, can we tame creatures?
Well, taming is a very specific word, and I had to ask Rich about this, so I'm going to make sure his wording is correct, as to not have speculation. We don't have anything in development right now. So no speculation, there's nothing in active development in terms of pets, but yes, TM down the road sort of thing. But
we're still committed to it. It is one of the stretch goals.
It's definitely still committed.
It's what we said at the beginning of the show. Not everything is in active development, so not everything has an answer that we can give you at this moment.
Yeah.
I think everybody likes the idea of having a pet copian. I know some of our NPCs in Pyro have pet copians and stuff like that. So those systems are being worked out with NPCs, and being able to issue commands and stuff like this. And when the eye of development, Sauron, turns its gaze back to pets and whatnot, you will have a lot of things that we can build on.
Yeah, I joined this project just so I could travel space with a Shiba Inu, so it's definitely something that I'm very keen on doing.
Alberto, man. I don't understand this question. Why did the sandworm shoot rocks in a square?
Okay, so I'm gonna fully put this to bed now. So anyone who thinks that spread is a square, so spread is when you shoot your weapon or not aim down sight. People seem to think, they're obsessed with the idea that it is a square.
Why? Why do they think it's a square?
Because they have sent me all these videos and they're just incorrect. But this is a picture of a video of when the Sandworm was bugged. See this? And that's when they didn't have randomness in, and it's a circle. So it is a circle, it's not a square.
So you're saying that when it was bugged, it was a circle, but when you fixed it, it's a square.
No, it's still a circle. Don't you start. There we go.
He's ruined the evidence now.
Oh yeah, it's all gone.
What was the problem with it being? I mean, I don't have a dog in this race.
No,
whether it's a circle or a square.
It never was a square. It never was a square. Just to be clear.
Are you trying to gaslamp the community right now?
No, I've provided evidence.
But you said they've sent you videos, and
they've sent me videos which are incorrect.
Presumably of it being in a square, I would guess.
And they're wrong. I know, because when you turn on the weapon debug, it is a cone, isn't it?
It is a cone.
There you go. And don't say, oh, you said square. I mean, circle, not cone. They're the same thing.
This sounds like you're gaslamping the community.
You're going to be the square guy now. You've gone from
how dare you? I'm not a square.
Somebody in the chat's going to be like, you said it wrong. He means gaslighting. No, it's gaslamping. It's always been gaslamping, and you're wrong.
I actually didn't know that.
I hope you know.
The show doesn't get any better when it's taped. Nick,
Hello.
What can you tell us about Did you put this question in there in a second? Non-combat, okay, so before we talked about industrial stuff,
yeah.
mining and stuff like this. So what can you tell us about non-combat, non-industrial specialization, armor and clothing? Stuff like medics and repair people and...
I'm glad you said medics because I saw a lot of comments about medics. So yeah, we do have lots of non-combat, so things like obviously a medic. And again, we kind of, not just by class, because obviously like Luke mentioned, it's not just always about the mass and the size or more protection. It's also about like what makes sense. You know, if you're a first responder, what would you wear? You probably wear something light, quick on your feet, can get down to it if, you know, if someone's in a cave or whatever, get down there and help someone out. But then obviously we talked about potentially the ideas of like a medic on the front line, so they'd have a bit more protection. But the things with the medics, obviously they've got the visor, so they're going to have more, when they ping and scan, they're going to have the vital signs of people in their group. So if someone's down, they're going to get a notification on their screen to be like someone's over there, and that maybe how long they've got before they're incapacitated. And then obviously we've also looked at the idea of like refilling your med pen, so the vials on your leg, again, kind of being a systemic system about it. You rather than discarding your med pen, you actually put them back and they slowly refill. So it means that your primary role isn't just focused on combat, you're on the front line, like healing people up and helping them, body dragging them to areas of safety and whatnot. But then we've got a lot. We've just started concepting like the tech suit, which I know is quite a vague term, but obviously we've got hacking in the game coming soon, and that would be like the idea that you can remote hack. So maybe you don't actually have to go up to the terminal, and this suit will excel at that. And obviously, again, you'll have its own different visor. And one exciting feature is like wireless charging, which I know we're quite passionate about. So some of our combat armors, which we've not really spoke about before, but if you have your energy magazines and you store them onto your suit, you'll start to get a bit of a trickle charge because they are essentially batteries. So these magazines will start to slowly recharge, and there's kind of like the trade-off, right? So it's like ballistic, they've got limited capacity, but maybe they do more damage, whereas like energy ammo, you can slowly recharge it over time via your suit, it's powering it, but maybe they don't do as much damage, or maybe they don't have as much travel distance. And one of the beauties with the tech suit is the idea that you can wirelessly charge your teammates around you. So if I was wearing the suit, Luke and Zach would have their energy mags start to slowly recharge. And but yeah, like obviously we mentioned like the pilot suits, and we talked about racing, and I feel like I'm
environment suits.
Environment suits, another massive one. Yeah, sorry. The leader, aka me, apparently. Yeah, so we've got, thanks. We've got environment suits. So obviously, like, you know, we're going to have these planets that we're introducing and all these different systems. They're going to have lots of hot and cold temperatures, radiation, corrosive. And these planets are going to be, you know, you're not going to be able to travel to these in just any old army. You're going to have to prepare. You're going to think about storage. And it's like if you're like an artifact hunter, or you grab resources, or you want to be the loot guy and you want to collect everything, like in a Fallout game or whatever, then you're going to have to wear one of these suits and go from there.
The other thing is, like, we'll be scaling back which suits have EVA capabilities as well.
Yes.
So there are some very specialised EVA suits in the game.
Yeah.
So if you want to spend a lot of time out in space, these are the ones you'll want.
Flying around.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're like a salvager, for example, and you're going out in space, like you're going to need a lot of like oxygen capacity and EVA capacity. These are going to be a much bigger deal than they are now. Like it's going to be a lot of kind of preparing for, like, okay, like you said, if you're you know, mid-battle, maybe I want to sneak out, do some salvaging, get back quick.
Obviously, these are a lot of changes and with a lot of moving parts and stuff. And I can see why there'd be a perception that this just makes the game more tedious. More crap you have to manage, more stuff like this. We always operate, and I've been here for a decade now, so I can say this in full-throated here. We always operate on this idea of you bring it to the point of realism, and then you bring it back to the point of fun.
Yeah.
It's when all these new systems get implemented, you know, all these different suits and all these, you know, this does this best for this, and this best for this, and this best for this, stuff like this. There will, like with anything else, be an adjustment period, not only to that, but then from that back to this point where we like it becomes manageable. Just like with the suit lockers, I'm absolutely certain that there was a point where accessing the suit lockers was okay, hand.
Yeah.
Play that animation. Other hand. And you're just like, okay, all right, feet and whatnot. You know, it's you know, you can do that in something like Squadron because it's a single player game and like this, but in an MMO and stuff like this, it's like, okay. Yeah, we have that system, but let's. It's you know we're a little time dilation there.
Yeah, same with it, like I was saying, the drop ship seats.
Exactly.
Just these little things that make it bearable.
Yeah, these little things that'll speed up the process and let you get into the fight faster or get into the situation.
And you typically know a path, right? Like if you're like, oh, I need these materials for my base, or you know, to craft these things, then you'd be like, okay, where is that? Here it is. Oh, it's on this planet. It has these contexts. Okay, I can do this. So you kind of already know to come prepared beforehand because you know what you're facing, because you know what you're going to get. So it's less like, oh, I'm there and I don't have that thing. It's like, cool, I've prepared. I know what's going to happen. I'm going to go there.
And just to finish on that question, obviously, Luke and I have spent so long, like we've looked at every aspect of Star Citizen because we are such a huge scope of a game. Like there's all these different roles, but you know, armor is still it's in the name. It's armor, right? So I think obviously it's very easy to go towards combat and damage mitigation and all that because it's armor. But you know, we are thinking of every scenario that players might be in, and if there is
Every
a role-
non-combat scenario.
Exactly, every non-combat. So whilst we may focus on combat at times, I don't want players to think that we're just foregoing like medics or engineers or anything like that. We are.
I will say when you were describing the medic version, in my head, I want a shield. I want a big, you know, I want to sit there with a med pen, you know, and a shield working towards a down person.
Yeah.
I think Chris doesn't like shields, if I remember properly.
Chris is wrong. You're watching the last broadcast of Star Citizen Live. He doesn't like shields. All right, I'm gonna talk to him. Hold on, just let me message him now. We're not live, so I can take the time to.
Yeah, get Boss Man on.
Chris. WTF? Okay. We'll just leave him with that. See how long it takes him to respond. Let's go back to a Valagar question. Where's a Valagar question? Or a creature question. Oh, the Valagar question.
Oh.
Is the Valagar the biggest thing?
No, the Valacar is not the biggest thing. In the presentation we ended it with so far, and I believe in our matrix right now, the biggest things are on Castra, and it makes the Valacar look small. So that is going to be very intense, and it's going to be very cool. Rich has given me the brief. He's very passionate about these things. He was like, Zach, the Valacar is really cool and big, but Castra, that's when you're going to see and I'll leave it there. But it is intense.
Is a Valacar longer than a space whale then?
Well, it depends on the size of the space whale.
A long space whale?
A long space whale, perfectly average space whale. I don't know the measurements of the space whale.
I bet it's longer, but not, yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Are you self-conscious?
It's going south this. Yeah.
I don't know. My brain went into a whole place where it's just better if I keep my mouth shut. Oh, look, Chris has messaged. All right, well, we don't need to worry about next week's show. Will there be reputation/guild/org clothing items made available that give special stat bonuses or armor capabilities?
Not quite. So,
Next question.
all, like, the majority of armor loadout, armor blueprints will be unlocked via guilds. But
Organization or guilds?
Guilds, not
Guilds.
player
Oh
orgs.
yeah, they're the
player orgs.
yeah. Because I always get confused about this because
Player orgs will allow you to customize your armor with your logo and stuff on there, but that's it. It's just cosmetic. Guilds, say we've got these really specialized armors, right? You're not going to find those in shops. They'll be super rare in like loot drops, maybe on missions and stuff like that. So you unlocking that blueprint and crafting it might be the first time you ever come across it, you ever get to, wear it. If it's, one of those super specialized things. But it's not a better, we don't give it a buff because it's a guild version or anything like that. That's crafting. You make it and you research it, and that's how you get those buffs.
Okay. And this ties into your set bonus question from before. There isn't some just magical bonus that's added to these things. It is like as many other things as Star Citizen as we can. We build it systemically, and when you get these pieces, you'll be able to mix them and match them with other armor types, and you make the loadout and the stat pool that you want, from all these things. So. You put a question about subscriber armor in here. Dangerous. Subscriber armor. When we lose it, do we use insurance or recraft a blueprint, and how does that work?
Are you looking at me?
I'm looking
Seriously?
at you. Yes. So with your subscriber armor, you do gain a blueprint when crafting is introduced into Star Citizen. I looked at you because we were talking about crafting, and I thought you might want to carry on that just for the record.
Nick's the one who's
It's a
going to get
controversial topic.
Yeah, I'm very nervous about the question. I want to get right. So when crafting comes into Star Citizen, you will receive a blueprint for your items that you've got, and you will be able, those unique items you will be able to craft again.
And just because I know somebody's immediately going to ask, that's not a replacement of the item kiosk. The item recovery a kiosk that we've talked about in the past that is, I think it was at one point we intended it to be in a previous patch and it just wasn't ready and stuff like this. There are still plans for that when we solve a number of technical challenges. We were talking about that before the show, how to keep that from being an item duplication machine. It has to go through and find, like, where is the existing item? It's floating out in the, halfway between Hearst and Microtech. Okay, it's got to clean that item up and give you the new one, so we're not just spamming hundreds and hundreds of copies. But also, if it was stolen, if it was taken, no. If it's sitting in somebody else's inventory, that's is that a legitimate kind of thing, because we also don't want that to just become a duplicate thing. So there's a number of technical and logistical and just game rules things that we're still working out. But crafting seems like an immediate solution. Well, when it comes out anyway, like probably a more immediate solution to allow you to recover those items, because a lot of those items are really cool.
Absolutely.
I'm always a big fan. I can't get it because Tom's in the way of some of the helmets that came out during my time there. So
I want to use my P8 in the PU. You know what I mean?
Sometimes I can't with Zach.
You're not the only one.
Many games, including Star Citizen, have gear for hot and cold environments. We talked about environmental armors earlier. However, has the team considered specialized clothing tailored to help in traversing places like jungles and swamps?
Yes. All.
Next question.
He's on it.
Nailed it. They sound like humid locations, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else, what other challenges are in a jungle, right? Humidity just raises the ambient temperature. So if you have a sealed suit that has decent, heat mitigation, you'll be fine. That's what you'd want for that kind of location. And we have plenty of explorer suits, like suits for so you can be out in those environments for extended periods of time, whereas if you were just wearing kind of combat armor, you would overheat very quickly.
They mentioned clothing specifically, so I'm thinking
We'll have
Bermuda shorts and a Maui shirt, so you don't overheat.
I imagine we'll have clothing that is cooler or not, but it's not going to keep you cool. You'll just be less hot.
Trying to imagine wearing a Microtech parka, in the middle of a swamp, watching your vitals go crazy.
We've kind of got that currently in game now, right? So when I joined design team, I did a temperature pass on all our clothing and armors. So we have like a minimum and max resistance. So when you start to hit a certain threshold, you start to overheat. So yeah, if you want to go in your Hawaiian shirt or whatever, then obviously you'll last a bit longer.
It'll still be better than a heavy armor that's not sealed, but I wouldn't suggest it, not when you've got just pop a helmet and an undersuit on, you'd be a lot better off.
In the mid-'90s, I used to be a professional baseball mascot, and I used to dress up as as Trimmer the Rallysaurus in a big dinosaur costume, and I always had a camel pack full of orange juice and vodka.
Nice.
I forgot how that was going to
Such
attach. I had a connection to that, and I lost it halfway through, and then I was hoping it would come back by the time I got to the end of the story.
When you were doing that, I wasn't
did not.
born.
I was going to say that went right over your head,
Yeah.
didn't it? Yeah. The 90s?
The 90s, what are those?
What's that? Best time.
Let's check our messages from Chris. Yeah, it's my last show anyway, so what the hell. Will we be able to save loadouts of gear?
Yes.
Yeah, in the armor, what do we call them? Armor lockers we
Yeah.
just talked about.
Yeah. So it's kind of what we alluded to earlier, the sense that you can quickly swap to your loadout via the locker.
Will we have backpacks that work with regular clothing that we can use without having to wear armor?
Yeah, so we are entertaining the idea of potentially, like we're saying, light, because obviously we've got light, medium, heavy backpacks as well. So light backpacks could be used with clothing, and we might even make dedicated backpacks that would, kind of make sense to go with clothing. So
JanSport. And okay, I'm really old. Oh my God!
I'm not gonna lie.
If you were on the
Or
wide,
American, I don't get that one either.
if you were on the wide, you saw 3 absolutely dead expressions.
Yeah. I was like,
Somebody out there knows JanSport. No, but nobody.
wow, silence.
It's almost Jared's bedtime.
All right. Why was the Boreal Stalker canceled?
It's not cancelled. No, it's not cancelled. We really want to do it. Rich is really keen on getting those creatures that everyone has seen before in the game.
It was in the Matrix.
It was in the Matrix as well, yeah, and really cool variants of it as well. So not cancelled, definitely coming. They haven't found any old tweets, so it'll be all right.
I think there's a thing that, I mean, obviously, priorities in game development shift and
Yeah.
stuff like this. A lot of times that happens because of resource availability and stuff, and you're always, Boreal Stalker has all these, additional parts, and it's gonna be a pain in the butt to animate. Whoever has. To
Oh no,
animate that.
you're thinking of the whip crab.
I'm thinking of the whip
The
crab.
Boreal Stalker is the Yeti one.
Oh.
Yeah.
right.
But yeah, so those creatures are definitely sooner in.
Well, because we
production than the
we
LAT,
just got the hair now with the space
Yeah,
cows. So
and it looks
so
so-
that's the space cows are a stepping stone to being
Yeah.
able to do those. What was the big crab thing that I'm thinking of? What's it called?
That's the pyro crab, but the whip crab, it has a couple of names.
Is it whip crab?
Whip crab.
Like WIP crab? Like whip crab?
That would be a very CRG appropriate name. But yeah, also with the Fauna Matrix as well, we've left some slots intentionally blank because whether anyone in the community posts something really cool and we're like, yeah, we want to nick that, or game directors do that thing where they go down and go, wouldn't it be cool if? And yeah, so we've left a couple of slots in the Fauna Matrix available intentionally in case we think of anything cool or we come up with anything cool and we can put it in the production pipeline. Yeah, we have the next 5 kind of like we know what they are. So the next 5 we know what they are, and they're going to be very cool, and you're going to get a variety in those 5 as well.
What are they?
I can't say. Can't spoil it.
You can tell me.
How are you?
Earmuffs,
Yeah,
everybody.
hang on one sec. Let me just.
You're making gibberish faces.
That's just my accent.
So it's CitizenCon when Armando was on stage talking about Starware, it was mentioned that mixing clothing and armor is one of the key features of that. This question simply says, will we be able to wear clothing over armor? Like the most popular thing is that that duster over a set of armor so that they can look like Dash Rendar. That's another. No, I have all the old references. Never mind. Can you put clothing over armor?
Yes, next. Yes, you can. There's kind of multiple layers to it. So there's the underlayer.
Multiple layers.
No, there is
what you did there.
underlayer, overlayer, and then the overcoat, right? The overcoat can go over those 2 layers unless it gets too extreme. You've got a huge core or something, something that's sticking out. A coat won't go over that. Maybe a backpack. And then there's like combinations of the underlayer and the overlayer you can have. So you can have clothing armor or undersuit clothing, and then the usual kind of undersuit armor. So yeah, you can put clothing over armor, but it's an overcoat.
Cool. I know that's when we were putting the presentation together. That was Armando only had a very small part of that, but that's such a long requested feature for our game, and as seeing it technically possible now is really exciting. Speaking of that, let's go back to that fauna matrix. We saw a lot of simplified concept sketches on the fauna matrix. What are the next couple of priority creatures for implementation? You put this question in there. You just said you couldn't answer that question.
Yeah, well, no, I can't remember exactly what I put, but it was like...
You put some bullshit answer about how you can't answer that question.
Yeah, that's what we did. But then it was, it's like, we have the next 5 Loctron release, post-Valar. There's one thing, so post-Valar it's something you've never seen before, and we're really keen to get those creatures out there. But pre-Valar, there is a new one. So there is one coming before the Valar that is new.
What is it? No, I'm telling you, I'm taking
Cal 2.0.
Oh.
We get to do another 10-minute episode where you rugby tackle me. It'll be fantastic.
No.
Oh.
No. All right, give me the name of the one after the sandworm.
One after the sandworm?
Give me the name. They won't know what it is. Just give me the name.
No, because they'll know what it is. I'll give you. I'll give you the name of the one before the sandworm. It's a Toruk.
Toruk?
Toruk.
Toruk?
Toruk. And it is a bit sci-fi, but it is a neutral creature.
As opposed to?
A hostile.
Oh.
It won't run at you.
I was thinking about alignment. Like, this is all awful good creature.
Yeah. No, I wanted to do another neutral creature because I want to work on some neutral creature interactions. Like we have the Quasi-Grazer going out, for example, and that's really cool. But as we develop the Quasi-Grazer, when you stand near it and you interact it, you want it to be a bit more interactive. So we're making some creature tech, for example. It sounds really dumb, but it makes a lot of sense when you see the Quasi-Grazer in 4.0 and understand why we're doing it. It's like, when you walk up to it, it looks at you like a pet interaction and things like that. So any neutral creatures that you do come into contact with, they're a bit more alive in the world and they're not just doing their own sort of thing. It's like if you walk into a cow, or you see a cow, it is aware of you, it's conscious of you, and that is obviously a lot of subtle animation work. It's a lot of AI work, but that's really important because I need us to be in a good place for neutral creatures, and that's being worked on as well as the Valar.
How many times have you seen a Quasi-Grazer stand on top of a chair in T-pose?
More than you'd hope, but less than you'd expect.
Is it as magnificent as I imagine?
It is. It's glorious.
Mm-hmm. See if you can send me a picture of that.
Pardon?
All right, we're wrapping up here. Will it be possible and valid to mix dress types to be more versatile in exchange for losing max stats?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's core to the whole system.
Yeah, but again, you will be worse in some other ways. You might find that mixing together some random bits of armor get you exactly what you want, for a very specific situation. But for instance, we're going to have, these full suit kind of features. So there'll be systems and even just kind of weight, the mass support, these things clip together. So right now, for instance, you can put on a heavy backpack, heavy core, heavy arms, heavy helmet, and then absolutely no trousers, right? Just run around with you,
Saturday night.
Feeble little legs, somehow holding all that up, and you will be faster currently than if you wore leg armor. So that's going. Your puny little legs won't be able to carry the weight of that because we're making all armors heavier as well. So you will need the support of this leg armor to make that viable.
You just crushed the hopes and dreams of Zero State. Sorry, man. I know. Okay. I'm just throwing haymakers left and right. Why not? So we'll wrap up here. One last question. What needs to be finished for the Valar to be released?
Okay, I also have a list of this one, so let me double check. Here we go. So what you saw in the demo was completely fightable. We've been playing that. We're really happy with where it is and how quickly it's come along. So we're able to balance that, but what we need to do is have the worm have bespoke collision, because there's not really a human being or any kind of creature that is able to withstand a ship hitting it. So that needs its own collision, basically.
Wait, did you say ship or?
Ship.
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard that too. I was like, oh, what?
It's my accent. Yeah, so that's the one major thing missing from the Valar. We also need to make sure it behaves on the server, because, AI historically. Add some more attack animations, polish its animations, VFX, as well as setting up, the big event that we talked about. So, yeah, but there's a lot of things we need to do with like planet tech and spawning creatures and all that, and that we need to like nail down, because when we did the Copians initially, we basically could use the stuff we used to spawn rocks to spawn Copians. We're like, oh, cool, this works. But there's some things we need to do to validate where creatures spawn better. For example, like if we have quasi-grazers, we need to make sure they spawn near food sources and waters, and basically make the spawning more logical.
Yeah, a bunch of the fights were when we spawned the sandworm, quasi-grazers were spawning alongside it.
That's what I mean. So it's like if they know there's danger in the area, because I landed my ship because we had a bug at one point where the quasi-grazers were walking around and disturbing the Valacar and bringing it up, and we were like, why is it happening? And then we looked at all the entity lists. They're like, why are there quasi-grazers here? Because again, like I said, we're an incredibly emergent systemic game, so you can't encounter for everything. But yeah, so giving creatures more logic to where they spawn, as opposed to just being tied to specific biomes.
He said AI historically. Just don't.
They've been working great since I came on SC, so that's going to get clipped.
Everybody knows the high hopes we have for the performance improvements with server meshing and stuff like that. So we're all still fingers crossed for a lot of important improvements for that.
Yeah, and you'll have seen how good the FPS AI has got from 322 to 323, and we've been really hamming down on that, and it's like night and day. Like it has been really nice to see it all come together, and we're constantly pushing for that at the minute. Like we have engineers that are dedicated full time to basically making the FPS AI just, an amazing, immersive, engaging experience. It's all the buzzwords.
All the buzzwords.
All the buzzwords.
Luke, Nick, Zach, you did it. Thank you so much for taking the time out to do this. Thank you for coming a day earlier to accommodate someone's vacation plans.
Multiple vacation, Mr. Worldwide.
You're allowed to take some time and jet set, whatever. The rest of us will be here doing the actual work. It's cool. Thank you so much, guys. If you haven't, check out yesterday's ISC. It was our annual behind-the-scenes look at the making of Citizen this year. This year, fully directed and created by our own Tom Rout. I had nothing to do with it, and it's really good. And I'm saying that for the camera because he's right here. Mm-hmm. He just flipped me off. So be sure you check that out if you haven't already, and then come on back next week. Next week on Inside Star Citizen, we're talking to Benoit and members of the network team. Where it's a server meshing follow-up on all these recent tech preview tests that we're doing. So you want to check that out, and then come right back here for another SCL follow-up to one of our Citizen presentations. I have to check everybody's vacation schedule to know which one.
Bye. Oh no, you changed the camera. Disaster.
Try it again.
Okay. Bye.
Wrong camera.
All right. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yay.
Ooh.
Thank you, guys.